I was really struggling. I was struggling with anxiety, and it was hard for me to go through my day. I've always kind of had my own experiences with mental health growing up, and I remember the exact moment I was in my room and I didn't feel like I could do anything except get out of bed and reach for my guitar. And again, it sounds so cliche, maybe a bit corny, but the way I connected with myself from playing and singing, I heard myself outside of everything that was going on in my brain. And I was so confident that I needed it, and that was the thing. And I think I bring that experience into sharing my music with other people, because if they can have that experience from listening to me and connect with themselves and better understand what they're going through, again, that's all I could ask for.
Devon Gabriella, welcome to From Vision to Creation. Thank you so much for doing this today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
I think one of the first things that really stood out to me about your story, Devon, is how intensely focused you were on making music the biggest part of your life. Even at a young age, I read about you learning to play guitar at 13 years old until your fingers bled.
Yeah.
I feel like that level of intensity is so rare in people just in general, but to have that be such a profoundly motivating force in your life so early on, I think makes it that much more special and rare.
Thank you.
And in addition to that, the community that you've built with your fans, the Garden,
yes,
that is so cool. And I think that that just really speaks to who you are as an artist, about how involved you are and invested you are in not just your art, but in the community that you're building while pursuing your passion. So I'm super excited to just dive into your story.
Let's dive in. That's so kind. I appreciate that.
Seriously, I really think that the way you're doing it, it's so different. And I think that it feels refreshing because it feels like, your community, they don't just have music to connect to, they get to connect with you too. That's so cool that you take the time to do that.
Thank you. It definitely feels like we've cultivated a community that's bigger than the music in a way. Obviously, the music is at the heart of it all and the artistry. But when I see people making connections through the community, friendships, that is kind of all I could ever ask for, is people connecting with each other, connecting with themselves, and finding a space where they feel comfortable and safe and excited for what's to come.
Devon, I want us to start all the way back at the beginning. I know you grew up in the Bay Area.
I did.
Talk to us about your childhood and when you first realized that you were artistically inclined. Was it music or was it something else?
It was definitely music, definitely singing. My dad, he was a teacher for 25, 30 years, and he would always have instruments in his classroom since before I was born. I'd like to say my dad's side of the family is relatively musically inclined. Ever since me and my sister were in diapers, he'd be playing us little jingles. There's home videos that actually just got developed, and it was him playing me and my sister guitar when we were newborns, and piano and trumpet. He's an incredible trumpet player. And he just really instilled music in me and my twin. And I grew up in a very musical household. And that really shaped, how I proceeded growing up and moving forward. But I can't remember a time where it wasn't music. And I think when you're creative and when you're an artist and meant to make things, you just feel it. And it's something that's a bit indescribable, but I can't remember a time where I didn't know this is exactly what I wanted to do. And I was so lucky to have the most supportive parents and community around me growing up in the Bay Area. And family is so, so, so important to me. And yeah, it was always my parents dropping everything and anything, even if, it wasn't the most favorable for them. They had other stuff to do, but they would drop anything to drive me to an audition or film a video for me and bring me to this place and that place. It was always something that was never a question. And And I'm eternally grateful because without that, I wouldn't be where I am. So I like to think that I've always known. And so it makes where I am now and where I'm working towards that much more rewarding in all of it.
Well, and take us back to learning to play the piano at 13, because I feel like most kids, when you grow up, you love music, but I feel like you really have to love music to not just learn how to play music, but also turn it into the career that you have. But what was the motivating force for you in your life that made you say, okay, I'm going to start with guitar and I'm going to learn how to play? Because you are totally self-taught, right?
Yes, definitely. It's funny, I started on the drums. I was 7 and my parents got me a drum kit. My sister and I grew up playing in little bands with our cousins. We had a little girl group called Second Son with me, my twin sister Jade, and our friend Katarina, who's incredibly talented and who I still keep up to this day. And we perform. And I was mostly on the drums in our little cousin band because my dad also played. He plays so many instruments and is just such a talented person himself, who I very much look up to. But yeah, after the drums kind of slowly slipped away, I picked up the guitar, and I remember the exact moment I sat down and locked myself in my room, searched up Jolene by Dolly Parton because I was reading through the chords and I was on guitar tabs. So I was only 3 chords. It was like A minor, C, G. Okay, I can do this. And I didn't stop until I could. Same with vocal lessons. I was really never in lessons. I like to, kind of take my own approach in just forcing myself into, this intense environment of like dedication. And not to say that I hadn't benefited from like a vocal lesson here and there. I think they're wonderful. I think I was just so on my own path and committed to making things happen. So yeah, I locked myself in my room until I could play without looking. And I remember when I first started singing along to my own playing, that was a huge moment for me. 'Cause, this opens up so many new doors in my own musical endeavors and my own writing. And I would call my mom into my room and be like, okay, look it. And I would always mess up because it's always when you're under pressure. It's like, no, I promise I can do it. I promise. But yeah, I think I really just made it happen. And I wouldn't stop until it was exactly how I wanted it. And holding a guitar, as cliche as it sounds, it just felt so right, and singing. And it's always been like that for me.
And when you learned how to play Jolene on the guitar, what was that moment like for you when it finally clicked?
It was incredible. It felt like I was on the right path, and everything that I was feeling in my hands, my fingers, I have notoriously small hands, I've been told. So when I was younger, they're even tinier, little baby hands, just like gripping onto those strings for dear life. And when I started to sing along, it just felt like I had this newly discovered agency and like was moving forward towards everything that I'm doing now. It felt great. It felt like I was, as also such a huge music fan and constantly watching performances by people on YouTube, seeing girls. I mean, at that time it was like Miley Cyrus on stage with, a guitar, Hannah Montana. And I was like, I can do this too. Like, I'm doing it. So it was very exciting, and it's really special to think back on that moment.
I feel like there's usually a moment where, okay, you realize you love something, but then it graduates to, not only do I love this, I need to pursue it. Do you feel that that was your moment?
That was definitely a big moment for me. I would say the moment. I was 16 and I was really struggling. I was struggling with anxiety, and it was hard for me to go through my day. I've always kind of had my own experiences with mental health growing up, and I remember the exact moment I was in my room and I didn't feel like I could do anything except get out of bed and reach for my guitar. And again, it sounds so cliche, maybe a bit corny, but the way I connected with myself from playing and singing, I heard myself outside of everything that was going on in my brain. And I was so confident that I needed it. And that was the thing. And I think I bring that experience into sharing my music with other people, because if they can have that experience from listening to me and connect with themselves and better understand what they're going through, again, that's all I could ask for.
I'm really glad that you brought this up, because I think that more people struggle with anxiety than we really even realize. Because I think if you go through something like that, and I can admit I've gone through that myself. When you go through something like that, you feel like you're broken in a sense, and it's almost something that you're ashamed to admit to people, because you feel like it's gonna, who knows, skew their image of you or whatever you think, right? Maybe even like make it real or more real.
Right. When you talk about it, it all feels real.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what were when you were experiencing anxiety, like, was it thought-based or was it like physiological? Was it both? Like, how would you experience it?
It was both. I was living inside my head for what felt like years. My first struggle with anxiety, I'd say it came to a height around 13. And music, that's kind of when, I grabbed my guitar, and it's always been there with me. 16, 17 were probably two of the hardest years of my life. 16, 17, 18. And it's funny, if you go down on my Instagram to the very first post, it's me singing Billie Eilish, doing a cover. And the caption is, "Hi, I'm Devon, I'm 17. And I am a singer-songwriter. I'd love if you follow along." And it's so crazy to feel that as a time capsule, because I know that was such a coping mechanism for me to like just start. Like, I needed to do something. I needed to put myself out there. I needed to share something with the world, and I needed to do it consistently. And it was making me feel better. And throughout, those videos, throughout the years to come, you can see me gain that confidence and feel better. So yeah, as hard as it is to look back on that time, it does feel to have it documented, like little time capsules, and I can pull up that video and then pull up a video of me performing on stage, and which is all that 17-year-old wanted to do, and she's doing it now. And it does feel very full circle. But yeah, music was the thing. Whether it was listening to it, making it, strumming my guitar, that would immediately bring me out of my brain and into reality. And it still does that, honestly. Like, if I need to be reminded of why I do this and who I am fundamentally, I feel like I do that best when I'm alone in my room with my guitar. Yeah.
For a long time, I think the narrative was, if you're feeling anxious, you need to replace negative thoughts with positive thoughts. I think that getting out of your head is actually the key. Because if you stay in your head, even if you're trying to create positive thoughts, you're basically trying to solve a problem at the level at which it was already created.
Right. You're trying to think yourself out of something you're thinking yourself into.
Oh my gosh, you perfectly said.
Very difficult. And it's something I tried to do for so long. And in getting my thoughts out, whether that's writing them out in a journal or writing them into music, that was what I had to do. And obviously combined with therapy, years of therapy, and feeling and knowing that healing isn't linear. Like, it was definitely a journey. But I genuinely don't think I'd be where I am if I hadn't, been so privileged, one, to get that help, and two, had resources around me like music, like my passion, like the thing I love that kept me going.
I really appreciate you being so generous with this part of your life, because I think that anybody who's listening, one major takeaway from this is that if you are going through anxiety, you're not broken. It's not necessarily going to be forever. In fact, it almost always isn't. And you will get through it. And also, more importantly, Find what you love to get you out of your head so that that becomes your focus and not the anxiety itself.
Yeah, and I'm am well aware of the fact that not everyone has the privilege to go to therapy and find something that they truly love. And I way more often than not get messages of, DMs from listeners saying that listening to my song helped calm them down from a panic attack, or listening to my music has helped them express something that they couldn't. And that is the reason why I do it. It takes one message, just one, or someone telling me in person at a show that I helped them in that way. And I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
I think that is the most gratifying thing that can happen to somebody, especially somebody in the creative space. You have dealt with anxiety, so you know how horrible and debilitating it can be.
Yeah.
And knowing that something that you're creating is helping to alleviate just that with people who connect with your music is huge. Like, actually, I have like the chills. I just want to cry.
It makes me want to cry. It's definitely even more fulfilling because as a young woman, a majority of my listeners are young girls, and I see myself in so many of them. And I'm 24, and I remember being 14 like it was yesterday. And, these girls would come to me and be like, I'm starting high school, I'm so nervous. I'm like, you're a baby. Like, but then again, I still feel like that little 14-year-old inside me sometimes. And, when I'm getting ready to go on stage, I feel like I'm back in a talent show when I was 13 and, feeling so incredibly nervous. Like, I think there's this common ground that we can all find together. And I know that a lot of, how my community has come together is people finding similarities within each other and comfort and knowing that they're not going through whatever they're going through alone. And I do think the internet, and as scary as a place it can be, it's been a way for people to find each other and communicate. And it's been a great way for me to get my stuff out there and talk to the people who support me the most.
Well, and I want to talk about that. And also knowing that you were going through anxiety at those years makes it like even more impressive in my eyes, because even though you were going through that, you were still putting yourself out there, and not just putting yourself out there, posting your music, which is scary enough. You were actually DMing producers and artists, trying to like really make it happen for yourself. And when I learned this about you, I thought, oh my goodness, Devon is quite literally what From Vision to Creation, like this entire show, what it embodies. It's exactly what you've done. You had a vision, you put together a plan, and you executed that plan. So let's go back to the teenager who was sending these DMs and hadn't experienced rejection as far as music was concerned yet.
Yeah.
How did you feel pulling that trigger and doing it for the first time?
It was so scary. I first started posting myself on Instagram. I was 13, and I was posting a cover of We Can't Stop by Miley Cyrus at like this random hometown music festival, and I hid behind a brick wall and posted myself singing it. And from there, it just became kind of harder and harder to put myself out there. When you get to those high school years, I was going through and blocking people from my school. It's like, I don't want them to see this. I would wake up every day, see a dislike on my YouTube, a cover I posted, and immediately was like, that's that boy from history class. And, it was just such a trying time for me, especially in those transformative years where you're insecure in yourself and then you're putting yourself out there is so scary, but it becomes so worth it. And it was so worth it for me. When I was around 18, 19 is when I kind of realized I needed to collaborate with people. Like, I only had so much skill in GarageBand. I, at the time, was living on the Central Coast, about 3 hours north of LA, going to school. And I would go on Spotify and look at my favorite artists, seeing who produced their stuff, find them on Instagram, send them a message and be like, I have no music out. I can sing, I think. Take a chance on me. This is my dream. I really want to do it. And it was I was never really afraid of no because I was putting myself out there. No one else is going to do it for me. The worst thing you can hear from anyone that you're asking something from is no. And you take that and it's hopefully one no closer to a yes, which was kind of my mindset going out. And I was lucky enough that one of them said yes. And I drove 3 hours to LA, showed up at his house. His name's Jordan, who still engineers all my stuff to this day and has produced some of my music. Shout out, I just adore him. And his amazingly talented girlfriend, Avery, who's an incredible artist. I know if I would have never done that, I wouldn't have gotten some of my first songs out there, which are still on there on Spotify to this day, which sometimes isn't my favorite because as an artist, you're always growing and you look back on your old stuff and don't love it. But yeah, it was never really a question. I knew I had to reach out to people and advocate for myself.
But that is such an admirable quality because that is quite literally what it takes. And I've said this before on the show. At first, people are going to tell you more than they tell you yes. And that's okay. That's just kind of like par for the course, unfortunately.
Oh, 100%.
But the more often you're told yes, the more often you're told yes. Mm-hmm. So it's like being brave enough to being okay with those first no's. And it sounds to me like you felt very like purposed and driven and kind of unaffected by the no's. Is that fair? Or would you say it got you down a little bit?
It was funny. From also my years of 14 to 17, I was auditioning for shows like The Voice and American Idol. And I heard no every single time I auditioned. That definitely, and it was always like, you're right there. You're so close, but like you're not there yet. Come back next year and work a little harder on your voice. And it was always like I was there, but not there, which was difficult because I felt like I was putting my best foot forward and that just wasn't enough. And in any situation that doesn't feel good, it's just a natural, human reaction to want somewhat validation and know that you're doing well and hear that from other people. So the no's definitely affected me. I think it was more when I was sending these messages, I knew I had to. I knew regardless of what I was going to hear, I had to because that was what was going to get me in these rooms. But yeah, I can't sit here and pretend like hearing no. Still to this day, I think for anyone, it stings a little bit, but it's what you do after that matters.
I love that. And I also think that you can't identify too closely with the no, because that is, if you look at it, okay, so if you look at it like I'm being told no because I'm insufficient, I'm not good enough, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, that starts to become a very sad story.
If you tie your worth to it.
Exactly.
You're just, it's everything to you. So it's definitely finding a balance.
Yes.
That's what I've learned, to separate. Music feels all encompassing and it's me and it's what I'm supposed to be doing and it's what I love more than anything. But I think there's also a world where you can find like Devon Gabriella and Devon. And I think that's been really helpful too. Knowing how to balance that, because obviously you're putting a product out there. People aren't going to like it. People are going to love it. It's just kind of what happens. And I'm still, working on one, confidence, two, like it's just kind of what you sign up for in this kind of industry. But yeah, I do think there's something to say about not tying your self-worth to it. And because once you are going to hear no's and I hear no's and I heard no's and I'm probably going to hear more no's. And it's about, having the mindset to separate yourself from someone else's perception of you in a way.
Absolutely, because when you tie your self-worth to the answer you're getting at any given moment, it's a roller coaster. It's up and down, and it's exhausting.
It's truly exhausting. Yeah.
It's hard to stay balanced.
It is really hard. And I'm still working on it. And I think everyone is. It's gotten so much better. But yeah, when I was 16 and I would stand up in front of these casting directors who I thought held the key to my future. And then in front of everyone, they told me that I'm not good enough. That felt like the world was ending.
Yep.
And I do think now, growing up and learning more about myself and the industry and why I do this, if I hear a no and then I hear someone tell me that my music has helped them in some way, that's always going to be the thing that keeps me going. But yeah, hearing no is tough, but it's something that's going to happen in any creative industry. You just got to keep on going. I have to remind myself that a lot.
Was there a particular yes that in hindsight was super significant for you, maybe even more than you thought in that moment?
I think that one of my first songs, Older, that I put out, it wasn't necessarily a yes. It was just the first time I got gratification through people on the internet listening to my music, and I was teasing the song, so to speak, and I was putting it out there, and so many people were resonating with it. And I think that's what really clicked. So many people discovered me from that song. And it did feel like a yes of some sort, like what I've been doing and what I'm writing and the honesty I'm putting in my songs, it's working for some people. And I think that really catapulted the rest of, me releasing music and kind of getting where I am. That would be the most prominent yes moment, I'd say, to me. And of course, I've had, meetings with people or good things happen where people are, excited about me. And I just am constantly existing in a state of gratitude with all of this thing. Like, I feel like if you go in expecting a no, expecting something not to work, when you feel that yes, it feels amazing. Yeah, it's very complicated. It's tough at points, but it's about learning to move forward.
And let's talk about your sound, because it's very unique. I know when artists start, specifically musicians, start to, create their music, I think you draw inspiration from people who have inspired you in the past, but then eventually there comes a time where you kind of find your sound, or maybe it's your sound finding you. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
When do you think that happened for you?
I think it continues to happen. However, I would say my first songs, I was really still figuring out how to put myself out there, make music, what I wanted. And it felt right to me to start off with guitar always. Like, all my tracks are pretty acoustic in the beginning. So my first EP, I would classify it as a bit experimental in the way of like, I like how this sounds and I'm going to put it out. My second EP, The Garden, that feels more of like the middle of that exploration. Like I was willing to experiment with some more sounds, different sonic worlds. Each song is pretty different from each other, but still kind of have the underlying like acoustic foundation, and there's similarities to them. But I do feel like I was kind of throwing paint at the wall. With this last song I put out, Old Time's Sake, it feels more like me than anything else. And I think it's obviously inspired by so much, but in that, it feels unique. And I really do think it shaped this upcoming project and new music I have. But I think the cool thing about music is there's no rules. Like, I think if something hits me today when I go to my session, I want to try it out, I can try it out. And yeah, for so long, I thought there was a target I should be hitting. Like, what makes me unique? What makes me, like, what is my sound? And it's really just what's honest. Like, what makes me unique is that I'm me and no one else is me, and no one else is you. And so I think going in with that mindset, and just, you do feel it. I'm confident in saying that. Like, when I'm in the room and there's certain, instrumentation going on, it's like, ooh, this feels true. This feels like me on top of like what I'm writing. But yeah, I'm never really closed off to any of that. But I do really mean it when I say that this last single and the music I'm making now feels true. It feels right to the progression of my artistry.
What I'm loving about the way you're describing, developing your sound and your approach to your music is that you're in many ways saying that like we're always evolving as people, as artists. It's nice to hear that because I think that some people, especially before you start pursuing something, you have this idea that once you reach this certain point in your life, then you will have arrived and you have figured it out.
It's always like, you're waiting for that time where it feels right. There's never a right time.
Well, and in my experience, like the second you get to that next level, so to speak, that you're looking for, you're already bored and ready for the next one.
Oh my God, I get bored so quickly.
I do too. I do too.
I think I'm also guilty of like over listening to things I do a month ago. So much so it doesn't even start to sound like a song anymore. And then I write something the next day and it's like, this is what it is. But I think there's something so important about appreciating who you were at that time when you wrote something.
Absolutely.
Like I can sit here and talk about how much I don't identify with my first songs, but I did at one point, and I think that's special. And I think it deserves to be heard. Hopefully my career will last long enough where I get to explore and continue putting things out that feel more and more and more like me and evolve and grow. But I definitely think it's important to kind of sit in those past versions of yourself in a way. But I do, again, I'll write something yesterday and love it, then write something today and hate the thing from yesterday because I love this one. It's art. It's so, you kind of just dance around how you feel about it. And as the artist, you're a hungry artist. Like you're never really going to be satisfied, but that's kind of exciting.
Devon, this is one of the most liberating perspectives I've ever heard, not just on the show, but like in general. Something about the way you're saying this, and I'm going to listen to this conversation again so I can like figure out what exactly it is, but something about the way you're saying this, it's like clicking for me because with this perspective, this isn't just for musicians. This is for anybody doing anything, quite literally. With this perspective, you allow yourself the freedom to be you. And from there, you can create honest art, whatever that may be, or do honest work, or just live authentically,
100%.
Whatever the case is.
It takes making that conscious decision of, I'm going to create, regardless of what it is. I might love it, I might hate it, and that's okay. I think with this last song, in the room, I was a bit hesitant because I kind of tapped into this more like humorous, cheeky songwriting that I haven't done before. And in the room itself, I was like, should I say this? Should I not say this? And, weeks later, it's become one of my favorite things I've ever put out. Like it's the beautiful thing about art. And I think having so many artist friends too, and, we go through similar struggles of like, who am I? Like, what am I supposed to be doing? What does this person want me to do? It's exhausting. And
yes.
Obviously I fall victim to it so much. I was just having this conversation the other day of like, what makes me special? Like who am I and why do people want to listen? But it's because you're you and you're going to keep on changing. And hopefully the people who are meant to stick around and listen to it are going to stick around and listen to it.
What has been the hardest thing you've put into a song?
The first thing that comes to mind is my song Get Clean, which is about my parents' separation. And I remember the day I wrote it, usually because my parents have been such big supporters of me, I'll send the demo from my session because they're just so excited. They're always excited to hear what I'm doing. My mom especially, she just loves it. To this day, she's texting me like, any new bounces, any new demos I could listen to? That's all she listens to. Like, Mom, you need to branch out. But I remember that day I left. I love the song, but I didn't tell either of my parents about it because I was so afraid of having them hear They split up when I was 13, and it was a bit of a tumultuous separation. I love my parents more than anything. They just weren't meant to be together. I think that just happens in life. And but the song itself details some really intense situations, and my song Older Too kind of details how I felt like I had to grow up really quickly, being 11, 12, 13 and experiencing love and loss, kind of fall apart and come together again right before my eyes. It changes you. But I never wanted my parents to know that it affected me so much, because it did, but I felt guilty them knowing. It was a really weird thing to wrestle with. But I knew that sometimes the hardest things to say are the most important, and people are gonna listen and identify with it. And I remember I sent it to my mom, and she just sent back, I'm sobbing. Like, she was an absolute mess. And I made sure, when releasing the song and when posting about it, to let both of them know how special they are to me and how grateful I am for both of them as just people themselves, and whether they're in a relationship or not in a relationship. But that was definitely the scariest one, for sure, because my family, everyone knows that they're not together anymore. Everyone kind of knows what happened. And but yeah, again, it was people commenting on the song and saying that they've experienced this. My songs helped them through their parents' divorce. Like, I would say I would release a song 100 times over again if it meant that it helped one person going through something similar.
And why do you think the hardest things to say often resonate with the most people?
I think kind of what we were talking about with like mental health struggles and anxiety. Once you say it, it makes it real. But also once you say it, it's out there and other people can grab onto it and resonate with it. And I'm often in the room like, should I say that? Is that too much? But usually what is too much is kind of the taboo thing that maybe some people feel but don't want to say it. And it does take some confidence to, songs are extremely vulnerable in themselves. But I know, like, when I was writing the song Older or Get Clean, like I was talking about, it's really scary, but very rewarding.
And let's talk about the community that you've built, the Garden. Talk to us about what that is and what your experience has been building that through your music.
It's my favorite thing in the whole entire world. I could talk about it for hours. Growing up, I was a fan of so much. I literally ran fan pages when I was 11 years old on Instagram for like Pretty Little Liars. I was just such a fan, and I felt myself joining these spaces and finding people similar to me, and how enriching it was for me growing up and learning more about myself and connecting with others. When I started putting my music out there and just covers, I found people gravitating towards it and liking it. And I've always been such an advocate for community. I think like when things get hard, we need to lean on each other. I started doing these Zoom meetings, I think in 2023, maybe 2022, just to play these little acoustic concerts in my bedroom. And the first one, there was 9 people. And it was such an interesting experience. It's like, hey, like you just see me online and now I'm here in my bedroom and I'm singing you songs. But it was so cool to be like, you know who I am, like you listen to me and now you're on here and taking the time out of your day to be in this space with me. It was amazing. And flash forward 3 years later, I think the most we've had in a Zoom is 900 people. Like it's grown into something that does feel bigger than the music. And I think it really came to be through my last EP, The Garden. I released the first single a year ago, on March 7th. Yeah, it was March 7th, 2025. And we kind of found this haven in The Garden by bringing back flower crowns and kind of emulating this space of safety and comfort. And that name, The Garden, stuck because it just, the word in itself, it just feels like a nice place to be and connect. And it's just been the most special thing in the world. Again, connecting with so many people who have gone through similar experiences as me, as each other, meeting them in person too, doing shows. It's so different seeing someone online, you know, in a flower crown and sending me a DM versus them standing right in front of me in their crown and telling me how much my music has meant to them. It's the only thing I could ever ask for, and makes everything, all the no's, all the hard times, all worth it. I could talk about it for hours, so I'm going to stop myself.
What have your fans taught you that music never could?
They have taught me so much. I am in constant awe of their dedication, their compassion they have for each other, their willingness to put themselves out there and find other people that can relate to them or that they can relate to. I'm nothing without the people who listen to me. Like fans and the people who listen to music, the industry revolves around that. And I think that's something that people forget sometimes. Like fans are the core of all of it. And I think it feels like the bare minimum for me to acknowledge that. And if I could go through everyone who listens to my music and call them out by name and thank them, I would. And maybe one day I will. I'll do like a marathon of just being like, I see you. And I think on Zoom too, that's why it's so important and really great for me to just see the faces of the people and acknowledge them and tell them how much they mean to me, because they truly mean so much to me, everything to me. I like when I see them sitting on the other side of the screen, it genuinely feels like the other half of my heart. I'm like, this is it. Like, this is genuinely it. And when I was younger, running those fan pages, I would have loved for to have something like this, to sit in my room and open up my computer and watch an artist I love sing to me. Like, I truly am singing to them when I'm performing. And yeah, I think it's just taken so much life over the past year. It's been a really beautiful thing to witness, and I'm just so lucky.
So as a kid, you start, as a kid, you realize that you love music. Then you take it a step further and you decide you're going to learn how to play music. And then you graduate to, okay, now I'm going to put my stuff out there. And then the next step after that was, now I'm going to continue to put my stuff out there consistently, but also reach out to people in the industry to make connections and to make this more serious than what I'm doing now. What was the step after that got you to actually like building a team and doing it as a profession?
I had the mindset when I was reaching out to these people, and I wanted to stay true to myself, and I knew no one else was going to do it for me. And there was a time where when I was promoting my first songs, I'd get people reaching out, be like, hey, we love this song. We want to chat with you about X, Y, and Z. They'd email my email and they'd say, to whom it may concern, we're trying to reach Devon. And I would literally put on my own manager cap and be like, Devon has class from 2 to 4. Maybe she'll be able to meet with you after. But there was never, I knew that there was never going to be a world where it didn't work out for me in some way. Mm-hmm. And with that mindset, I was willing to play the game. And it was just me. Like, I was writing my senior thesis or essay or sitting in biopsych class and then driving to LA and going to meetings. I truly think that putting myself out there, it was the key. Social media, people just stumble across it, ask to meet with me. And I just go. Like, regardless of who it is, I think you can find value in just meeting and connecting with people, because you never know down the line that could be the person who gets you in a door that you want to be. It's just, I think everyone brings some value to the table. But after I was, playing my own manager and reaching out and doing the things that usually the artist with a team doesn't do, when I did find those people and they reached out and I connected and they kind of understood the vision I had, it made it feel that much more exciting, because I was operating with thinking it was just me. Like, I'm going to be doing this and that, and I'll respond to this email and do, all of the things. So when it was time for people to do that for me, it was like, wait, are you sure? Like, I can totally do this. I can do it. And it was taking my hands off of everything. That was a little bit of a challenge too, just because I was like so self-sufficient in it. But yeah, it just brings this extra level of gratitude where it's like, oh, you believe in me so much that you want to invest something in it. I'm not the biggest artist in the world. Like, even still, like, the people who are working with me on my team, I'm just so grateful that they're willing to be a part of something that means so much to me. But yeah, I was meeting with so many people in between classes and driving here and getting exciting messages and hearing no's. Like, I remember I was sitting in class and I got a DM from someone who worked at this huge label, and I had to hold back tears in class because he wanted to talk to me. And I ran home, messaged him back right away, called my mom. I made this whole video like, this is it. Like, I got discovered. I made it. All my hard work has paid off. We had a call scheduled, me and this person, and radio silence, just nothing. So it was those moments too where I knew that I could not put all my eggs in one basket, and like no one was going to do it for me. Like, but yeah, there was rejection alongside the interest and the yeses, and it's always going to be like that. But it was definitely a chaotic time, I'd say, being a full-time student and somewhat a full-time artist, and like trying to make it work for myself. But again, there was no reality where I would give up and it didn't work, and I just had to keep on going. And still sometimes I'm like, what do you mean? Like, this is like, you're asking me how you can help me? Like, it does feel, it feels weird sometimes, but I'm just mostly so grateful that people believe in everything I'm doing.
Two things stood out to me right here. Number one, the mindset of, in no world will this not work out for me somehow. Mm-hmm. It is that mindset that really does determine whether something will or will not work out. And I feel like everybody has moments where you start to doubt, maybe here and there, you get a little down on yourself, you get negative. But so it's not like you have to maintain that frame of mind forever. If not, it's not going to work out. Like,
totally.
I think to maintain that frame of mind nonstop, you'd have to be like a sociopath, because that's
100%. And I think also the term workout, like, success means so many different things to so many people. So like, success sometimes to me is one person coming up to me and telling me that my music affected them in some way. Success as someone else is playing a stadium. Sometimes success to me feels like playing a stadium. Other times it's me sitting in a park surrounded by 5 people who listen to my music and enjoy themselves and find comfort in that. Like, it's, I think once you reposition that in your head, that things can work out, you can find success in so many different pathways. It relieves a lot of the pressure. Like, having to feel like that I made it. And yeah, like, my biggest dream is performing in a stadium, but my biggest dream is also finding that community of people who love my music, and both can be true.
Highlighting your point, you don't want to have such a strict definition of success, because if, your ultimate dream is to play a stadium, are you failing until you play at the stadium?
Yeah,
like,
no.
Of course not. Yeah.
No, I think it's such a chaotic industry, and you're constantly seeing people achieve the things that you want to achieve one day. And I think also once you have the mindset of there's room for everyone, just because this person has something that I want doesn't mean I can't have it too.
Yes.
And also, like, being genuinely happy for people who are succeeding. Like, seeing other people succeed makes me excited. It makes me feel like I can do it. Like, it makes me know that it's possible.
When you're looking at it from that frame of mind, you are in an expansive state. If you're thinking that somebody else's success is taking away from yours, first of all, you're wrong.
Of course.
Second of all, that is not an expansive way to be. Like, that's being down and negative on yourself. But the second thing that stood out in what you said earlier, when you were talking about how you booked a meeting with an executive at a huge label, super excited. You thought, this is it. This is my moment. and then you got radio silence, didn't even show up to the call. That is such a great story because that really does highlight the fact that one person cannot make or break your career.
No.
It's up to you. Again, back to what you said, because you're saying it perfectly. Like, it really, you have to bet on yourself and you have to show up and do the work.
You do. It's something that it took me a while because when he didn't show up for the call, it's like, oh, I'm not succeeding. Like, this was my chance. Like, who's to say that I'm sitting on this empty Zoom call, the next week I get someone else, messages me and that works out. Like, it's so easy to take these no's and rejection as, again, defining your worth.
Right,
like,
right.
It still feels like that sometimes. Like, I am constantly learning and growing, and as a sensitive person too, and I feel a lot, I'm not going to sit here and be like, I'm immune to someone telling me no or telling me that something negative. Like, it's something that you take in and you learn and you grow from, and it is just keeping on moving forward. I think when I was in that space of everything felt so far away until that moment, until that person told me that yes for that moment, it was like, I got it, I made it. And coming from that high to that low is really difficult.
Yes.
And that's the industry though. There's like, you feel on top of the world one day, and then the next day you feel like you've done nothing and you don't know how to move forward. But that's just like being an artist. That's being a creative. Like, if you didn't care so much, you wouldn't feel so deeply about it.
Exactly. That's so true. And you just got a huge yes recently. You opened for Somber's North American tour, which is amazing. Take us back to the moment when you got that yes. Like, how did that come about? How were you feeling at the time?
That was so crazy. I had been such a fan of Shane Somber, and we had ran in a similar circle. The friends who I started spending time with when I first moved here happened to run in his circle. So we had, met a couple times, exchanged hellos, and yeah, I was listening to his stuff and thought he was insanely talented, and but never expected to be on the road with him. It just felt like something so, it never crossed my mind, genuinely. I remember I was in my room, my manager called me. It's like, Shane, like, Somber wants to take you on tour with him. It's like, I didn't have agents at the time. And Somber, like, Shane Somber? Like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, he just, his team just reached out. And at that moment, it truly felt like everything I had worked towards was coming to a front in that. And everything just started moving so quick. That was kind of like at the cusp of him exploding. So things were really chaotic. Like, shows were getting added, and I just felt lucky to be there. Like, I am so eternally grateful to Shane for seeing something in me and believing in me, and allowing me to meet his incredibly dedicated fan base and perform in arenas. Like, my first time in so many of these cities was playing 9,000 cap venues, and I had played maybe 500 at the biggest. Like, nothing prepares you for that. That was definitely a huge yes moment for me. And I look back at that experience with just so much gratitude, and I would do it 100 times over. It was perfect chaos.
And what did that experience do for you as an artist, do you think?
I learned so much. I fell in love with the road. I love being on the road. The highlight was the fans. Every city, I think every city, there's 28 shows, 24, 25 cities. There was someone in the front row with a flower crown on. And that meant that they had to show up hours and hours and hours to line up at the venue, to show up for me and to be in the front row singing my songs. And as an opener, obviously the majority of people have no clue who you are, one, and two, aren't there for you, which is intimidating and puts an extra layer of like, oh, I'm performing to this huge room and I'm gonna kind of have to / try to prove myself. And the thing that would bring me back down was seeing people in the front row sing my lyrics back to me. Like there could be one person in a room of 10,000 and it would just mean the world to me. So yeah, I fell in love with live music and live settings. And I also learned so much from Shane's performance and his dedication. He's a true artist, and I would literally watch his set every single night and never not be in awe. He's great.
And I want to talk to you about your song Old Time Sake, which is so good.
Thank you.
By the way, which I know you know that, but I love it. I think it's so great.
I just so appreciate that. I'm very excited about it.
Can you tell us the story about the song?
Oh, yes, I can. I can. It was 2 weeks before I left for the Somber tour. And I was, like I said, going to so many cities that I had never been to before. I've had my fair share of relationships and throughout high school, college. And I don't use my college degree, but I like to think that I use my experiences that I, got from there. And such a crazy time. You're 18, 19, learning so much about yourself. And I met some people there that I was romantically involved with and then not. And, you're kids. Like, I feel like I felt so old and mature and like I knew everything at 18.
Yes.
And now I'm like, you're a child. But with that, the person who the song is about, he was going to be in the city in which I was performing. He had moved there, I think after he graduated. And I was going there for the first time. The city itself is mentioned in the song, but I won't say it now for the sake of, I don't know. I'm still like, with songs still honest, it's still hard for me to be like, what if he's watching? You know what I mean? But you know what? Art is art. Yeah, I was anticipating him being in the same city, us being in the same city for the first time in so long. And I was telling my producer that I was thinking of texting him and inviting him to the show, which I don't know what my goal was for that. I think we had chatted so much in school when we were seeing each other about how much I wanted this to work out and how badly I wanted music to do it. And then here I am in his city playing at this huge venue with a huge artist. Like, it just felt like I had to in a way. Mm-hmm. But I also simultaneously knew it wasn't the best idea. And I was going back and forth and just rambling to Kevin, my incredible producer. And the song really just fell into place. Like, it was such a fun songwriting experience. It was such a fun environment. Like, we just had this back and forth, and it was those things where I'm like, should I say that? Like, do I be this brash and forward? And it turned out to be one of my favorite pieces of work I've put out. And it's especially exploring sonically too, like really brought in this like Fleetwood Mackie, Casey Musgraves, but like in the contemporary world. It was so cool to explore that. But yeah, the song's all about running it back with someone that is probably not the best for you, and finding some sweetness in that cycle, regardless of if it's a bit damaging in a way. I never really let myself do that. It was always like, this is a sad story. We're not together anymore. There's so much emotional depth to it. I think it was very cool for me to find that moment of like levity and be like, oh, I can kind of take a warped perception on this and have it be a little fun and sweet and cheeky. It was a very creatively fulfilling experience writing that song.
That's a gift, to be able to combine two conflicting, intense emotions.
Right.
Did you text him?
No.
Good for you.
No, and I've never, in my songs, obviously, if they're about relationships, they're about real relationships. But this is the first song where it is so clear who it's about, because it just is. And my friends were texting me and had no question who it was about. And it's scary. Like it's a scary experience putting it out there, but I think I'm young, I'm growing. I want to document my experiences. I think if I have something to say, I want to say it and capture these feelings. And I hope he's doing so well. I genuinely have nothing. Like I wish the absolute best for him. And now that we're years and years out of the experience, I think we both kind of look on it fondly, at least I would say, regardless of what happened in the past. But no, I did not text him. Maybe the next show in Atlanta I will. We'll see.
You can get him tickets, like not great tickets, but like decent tickets.
I'll get him balcony seats.
Balcony seats will be good. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. No, I truly wish him the best. And I did gain a lot of, ideas, and a lot of my songs are about that experience. So sometimes it's once you're out of a situation that felt so up and down and back and forth, you can take a deep breath and be like, I'm going to create something out of this. And it felt very cool to do so.
Devon, what are you doing now to keep yourself grounded as your career is growing?
Oh, the first thing I think of is my family. I, again, am so lucky to have such close relationships with them all. They truly bring me back down to earth. They know me inside and out. I have a twin sister, Jade, who is my best friend, and we live together. Whenever I'm spiraling about whatever I'm feeling or having big emotions and again, industry's crazy. I sometimes feel like I'm doing it. Other days I feel like I'm not, and I have no clue what I'm doing. And she is the best at centering me, because like we're each other in a way. Like we're genetically the same.
Yes, I was gonna say.
She knows how I'm feeling. My mom can read my face in an instant. They truly ground me, and I'm just so lucky to have them by my side and believe in me so fiercely. And also my friends I surround myself with. My whole friend group here, besides one who's an amazing manager, we're all artists. But our relationship extends past just the artist to artist thing. Like we truly see friendship in each other. Like we are so close and can read each other and know exactly what the other person's going to. It's very rare you find someone who's doing exactly what you're doing. We're all kind of in the similar lane of like singer-songwriters. And I'm very grateful to have such a strong group of women, and who we advocate for each other and help each other. I've been asked like what I do outside of music. It doesn't feel like anything, because music truly feels, it's my passion, it's my job, but it's like, even if I'd still be doing it, it's how I also find fulfillment. But I have been recently trying to explore other hobbies. Been reading a lot. I love movies and TV. When I'm not doing music related stuff, I'm watching a show. But yeah, things that really make me connect to Devon, connect to myself. Like there's Devon Gabriella, who's me, like wholeheartedly, and there's Devon, who's me, and they coexist. And finding time to nurture the non-artist part of myself only helps feed the artist part of myself. Mm-hmm. So I try to prioritize taking care of me and giving myself grace. And I like the motto of like, be your own best friend. Like you live inside your head and like you want to make it a good place to be. So anything that I can do to nurture that and help that, I try, regardless of how busy things are these days, they say.
Another great point, because I think that in the United States, we place a lot of emphasis on hustle culture. And if you're not working, you're being lazy.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to hear you say that taking time away from the work is actually beneficial to the work, because
course.
when you reapproach things, you're energized. You're not just totally depleted and burnt out.
Yeah. And also to make art, you need to experience life. Like I need to go and have experiences and take a break and take a breather and then come back and talk about it. And I still struggle sometimes when I'm laying in bed. I'm like, I could be doing this and that. I think we all do. But it's giving yourself grace in that time to re-energize, because if you don't, you're gonna burn out. And I definitely have experienced that. I think my first year in LA, I was so go, and I was writing, but not living to give myself something to write about. And finding that balance is tricky, because it's not a 9 to 5. You're always gonna, be able to do something or should do something. But I like to prioritize re-energizing and giving myself. I'm young. Like I want to travel. I want to do, young people stuff and experience the world and different people. And I've been lucky enough to do some of that, and hopefully we'll do more. I find myself to be very inspired also when I'm traveling to different places and having new experiences. So yeah, it's important.
Well, it's so true. You have to live in order to create. It's like, I forgot the famous playwright who said this, but somebody asked him once, are you writing another play? And he famously responded, I don't know, but I probably am.
I love that.
Yeah, it reframed it for me, because I thought, man, that's so true. Like, you really do need to go out and like pursue the things that interest you, because without spending that time and reinvesting back into you, what are you going to write about?
No, you need to have something to say. Like I write because I have something to say. And that's when the most meaningful things come out.
When somebody listens to your music for the first time, Devon, what is it that you hope they feel?
Comforted. That's how I feel when I listen to artists I love. I'm such a music fan myself. I am constantly listening to old stuff, new stuff. I think comforted. Whether that's in the lyrics, in the instrumentation, anything. And I hope they find their own meaning in it. And music can be interpreted in so many different ways. I think that's the most beautiful part of it. Like, I can write a song and have it be about the specific experience of my life. Someone can listen to it and apply it to something they experience that's completely different from mine, but still means truth to them. So yeah, I also hope they like it. But if they don't, it's fine. It's totally fine.
What's the biggest life lesson you've learned so far?
I'm still learning it. I have struggled with confidence for so long. And in an industry where you're somewhat reliant on people's consumption of what you're making, it's tricky. Learning to be kind to myself throughout all of it. And again, still struggling, still learning. There's that voice inside your head that is telling you you're not doing enough, what you're doing isn't good enough. Comparison is the thief of joy. I find myself sometimes comparing myself to other people similar to me who are doing X, Y, and Z, and I'm not. But like, there's no point in doing any of that. Like, the only thing that will bring you is stress and worry. And life is too short to be trapped inside your head and your own thoughts and your own perception of yourself. Like, I truly think it's learning to be kind to yourself, learning to be kind to others, knowing that every single person is going through something that no one has any idea about. Like, anyone who comes up to me, it's so important to meet them with compassion. I'm learning so much about myself. Being in front of an audience and putting yourself out there is a very unique experience. And social media is a bit unnatural. Like, everyone and everything is so accessible. It interesting thing to navigate. But with that, staying true. Like I like to think there's my brain that's like moving at 100 miles per hour at any given time. And there's somewhat of like and this is maybe going to sound a little like, not woo-woo, but like, I'm going to say it anyway. It feels like there's like a higher self that's operating, that's like guiding me into where I'm, my higher self, where I'm kind of free of all of that inner turmoil that knows that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is exactly where I'm supposed to be at. And it's just being kind to myself throughout the process and grateful for everything that comes my way and hopefully will continue to do so.
I actually don't think it sounds woo-woo at all. I think that when you can tap into your higher self, it really is such a gift because you're able to look at your life objectively, or as objectively as possible, and give yourself the advice and the confidence that you need to pursue what you're doing or change course. Because I feel like when you can, if you have access to that, if you can quiet your mind and hear your higher self giving you the answer that you need, it allows you to move forward in your life and make decisions with confidence, unlike anything else can provide you with.
No, truly. And I think it's so easy to try to find someone else to be like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Do this, do that. It's when you're lacking that guidance within yourself, you want to find it in someone else. But I think it truly is connecting with that person, that little girl who picked up a guitar for the first time and is like so excited and just feeling lucky and optimistic about everything to come. Like that is what I try to tap into. And music and playing it and writing it is truly when I feel like I'm connected most to myself. And has been since I started music when I was younger, has been since when I was 16, 17, feeling just so far away from who I am. And it brought me back to that place. And I'm sure next week, if I have somewhat of a spiral and a breakdown, I'll look to music and grab my guitar and feel a little bit closer to where I'm supposed to be.
And where's the best place that everybody listening can find you and listen to your music?
I'm on every stream platform: Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Amazon. I'm on Instagram, you're Devon Gabriella, TikTok, Devon Gabriella Music, and I think an internet search should show you what you need to see. My new song, Old Time's Sake, is out everywhere if you want to listen. I'm really proud of it.
Well, I'm going to include the link to all of your social media handles and Spotify and Apple Music so people can easily listen to your music by clicking below.
Yay, thank you.
And Devon, if you could go back in time and offer your younger self one bit of advice specifically tailored for you, maybe let's go back to the 13-year-old girl who's going to lock herself in her room for the first time to learn guitar.
Yeah.
What would you tell her?
So much. Keep going. There was so many times, whether it was out of fear or just a non-belief in myself, that I wanted to stop. If I was struggling with whatever I was struggling with, it's like the easy way out would just to not do this. Like I'm actively choosing to put myself in somewhat of a stressful situation sometimes with all of the chaos that comes along with this, and like why? Then I would literally just shake her by the shoulders and like, regardless of what hits you, regardless of what you feel or what you're about to go through, keep going, because the thing that you're doing right now is what's eventually gonna be everything and help you throughout just life growing up. Life is so hard, but yeah, we have each other. We have things that we love and that get us through it. And music is that for me, and something different for you and something different for everyone else. But yeah, I would just encourage her to keep on moving. Because if I were to stop, I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't be sitting right here across from you right now. I wouldn't have gone to meet so many incredible people and build such a beautiful community that I'm just so grateful for. But I know I wouldn't probably even need to tell her that because she was such a determined little thing, 13. She'd keep going regardless. But yeah, I have so much love for her, and I like to think when I'm on stage and performing and seeing thousands of lights like on the Somber tour in cities, and I like to think she's standing on stage with me, excited and happy that I'm where I am and just looking forward to what's to come.
Well, Devon, thank you so much for doing this. This was so much fun. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me and such thoughtful questions, and I'm just very excited and grateful.